Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here. I figured since FEPI announced their latest distribution, it's time to do, we'll call it a monthly update on the fund and see how they're doing in general, see what they're holding, see what their calls look like, etc. and so on. So, obviously, if you're new to FEPI, FEPI is an ETF made from REX shares, and they basically own a whole bunch of different good underlyings, and they sell covered calls on them. And then what they do is they pay us a distribution from that covered call premium. Obviously, plus additional income from the dividends on the actual underlyings that they hold. So I have several videos out on FEPI, so feel free to go check them out when you have a chance. But today's video is their status, how they're doing, and what they paid on their distribution. So first off, recap, FEPI came out October 11th, 2023. Right now, the NAV is 5205. Their fund assets are 182 million. Shares outstanding, 3.5 million, which is, obviously a pretty big growth from last month. Number of holdings is 71. That includes the underlying stock plus the covered call contracts. Their expense ratio is 0.65%. Their distribution rate is 25.2% annually, which is really good. And their latest distribution, which was announced yesterday, is $1.09. If you compare that to last month was $1.19. Slight decrease, but that's okay. It's still over $1. Today is the ex-dividend date, so you would have had to own it yesterday in order to qualify. However, today being the ex-dividend date, the fund actually opened minus $1.09, so you may see a discount in FEPI today if you are looking to buy in. Sorry for the background noise. I'm on lunch break. I'm at home, and they're finally paving the roads here, so I'm pretty excited about that. So through their website, you can see their holdings, which I already downloaded, so we'll get into that on a second. But real quick, if you wanted to get the announcements, you can go through their website right here, plug in your info, and then you'll get the distribution announcement as it comes. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet, the FEPI spreadsheet I have created. Now, so there's obviously several months where they announced this. If FEPI close, okay, good, it updated. All right, so what I do is I track the distribution each month, and I also track the price of FEPI, the date around when the distribution came out, so we can see what the yield is. So you can see in column H, the consistent yield is 25%, which is really good. 25% yield on an ETF that can either stay flat or move upwards is outstanding in my opinion. And obviously you can see the distribution from day one increase. 1 month it went up 3 cents, another month it went up 2 cents, and then it went down a penny. This was probably the biggest drop since inception. It went down 10 cents. But if you look, the fund actually dropped down 4 cents because the market in general went down. So it was actually an 8.4% decrease from the prior month. But it's still respectable 25% yield based on the price. Return of capital. So what is this? This basically means, they're not paying you from income. They're not paying you from the premium income. They're paying you return of capital. So most people look at this and say, okay, well, I'm just getting my money back. But if you look at the ETF price, that can't be possible, right? Because the ETF price is not dropping by the total distribution. It's actually going up or staying flat. So how are they doing this? Well, basically what they do is they hold the underlying. So the capital that they're making on the underlying is never getting recognized unless they obviously sell, of course. Sometimes they have to reallocate funds, and that happens. But since that's the case, you can see the capital gains alone in the underlyings that they're holding. Now, the calls that they're selling, right? They sell a whole bunch of calls. Those actually sometimes turn into a loss. So they're using the losses on all of the calls that they sell in order to produce return of capital. Again, I talked to actually Sylvia Jablonski at Defiance yesterday, and I asked her, do they have to produce this monthly? And she made up a good point. It's really an end of year thing, because you don't know how much you're going to have, how much is considered return of capital until you know the end of year numbers. So it makes me think, how are they producing this? I guess they know right away it's going to be return of capital. But either way, how do you find it? There's something called the 19A1 notice, which if you go to the website, it's right there. So right off the bat, it shows you the latest one. This is the April one, the one they just announced. It shows that $9 is 100% return of capital. And if you scroll through these pages, every single month is 100% return of capital. And again, it's because none of the, I'm not going to say none, but most of the capital appreciation on the underlyings was never recognized. So since the fund is actually moving up, they're using the losses that they're having on the covered calls, some of the losses, I guess, and saying, okay, we have this much in losses, this much in income. Since we lost more than what we gained, this is actually return of capital. It's hard to really explain unless I put it down in writing, unless I track every single transaction. But hopefully you guys are understanding at least what I'm saying. I hope. Anyway, if I did not explain that well, I apologize, and maybe I'll cover it again better in the next one. But either way, so that's the latest. That's the latest distribution at $9, today's ex-dividend date, so we dropped by that amount. Every single distribution is return of capital, which means, and this is not tax advice, you should see on your statement at the end of the year that there's no tax on it. But again, I'll believe it when I see it. Let's wait till their annual report comes out and then what's return of capital. Because I'm guessing the monthly reports can be subject to change, which brings up a good point. Is that a footnote here? The amount of sources distribution report in this notice are only estimates and are not being provided for tax reporting purposes. All right, so it is an estimate. So this is what they think, all right? The actual amounts and sources of the distribution for tax reporting purposes will depend on a variety of factors. The fund will send a Form 1099. Okay, yeah, so these are estimates. So I should probably add that to my sheet here. Estimated ROC. You guys are going to think that's my estimated ROC, but it's not. It's their estimated ROC. Okay, moving on. So, price-wise, before we get into the holdings, let's see how they've been performing. So, over the past month, we were at 55 still, and then boom, we got hit around April 12th, down 1.49%, April 13th, down 1.88%, April 17th, down 1.13%, April 19th, I believe this was the past Friday, down 2.88%. So it's been a pretty rough month. But FEPI, as of yesterday close, is that yesterday close? Yesterday close, okay. 52.03. What's today's price? Do I have that anywhere? I don't. But either way, it's probably around that still. I know it did drop by the distribution, but last I looked, it was almost going flat, so it might be around the 52.03 range. So, because the market's up overall, so you can pretty much wash away the ex-dividend date, discount. Either way, let's assume it's around 52.03. The price at launch was actually 51.69. So if you take that alone, you have a capital appreciation of 34 cents per share, or a 0.66%, capital gain. Now, obviously, this was much better before the bad month, but we're still up. Again, with a 25% distribution, if you could stay flat or even go up a little, that is a win. Because look, the dividends paid out, they total $7 from inception. That's a 13% payout. Again, that's insane. The return on that total with capital and dividends is $7.34. So total return, we're looking at 14.2%. Again, and this is after the down month. We got destroyed the past week or two, and we're still up on FEPI. So that just shows you how good this fund can perform, how good this fund is performing. So again, if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of FEPI. And my first video of FEPI, I'm like, I'm not buying it because I did not understand it. So it's okay to think, you hate something and then go back and then obviously change your mind, because I didn't understand it. And I jumped to conclusions. And sure enough, once I understood the fund, I went back and I'm like, oh my God, this is outstanding. All right, so here's their holdings. I exported it into Excel. You can see what they own. All right. Palo Alto, Alphabet, Salesforce, Adobe, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Intel, Broadcom, Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD, Micron Technology, and Netflix, okay? And they're equally allocated proportionally. You can see the weightings around 6.2 to all the way up to 7.1%. But they allocate, they reallocate frequently. It should say in the prospectus if you care that much. It may be monthly, probably monthly. Their cash is around 2.34%, which is actually 4.2 million, a lot of money. So everything down below, these are the covered calls. And if you look, they expire May 17th. So they're about, I guess, less than a month away, right? Less than a month, but they all have the same expiration date. So they have multiple calls for each fund. But how are they doing? Are they out of the money? Well, let's check. We scroll to the right. Lucky for you, I got some formulas locked in. So obviously I'm pulling the ticker, I'm pulling the name, I'm pulling the call price, I'm pulling the current price of the fund, and I'm calculating how much out of the money these strike prices are. So if you look at Avgo, for example, we scroll over, their strike price is $14.70. So that'll pick up under column I for the call. And the current price of Avgo is $12.47. So right now they're 17.83% out of the money. And again, today is what? April, of course, my watch is set on something else. April, 20-something. There it is, 23rd. All right, so today's April 23rd. Expiration date is less than a month, May 17th. So 17% out of the money is pretty damn good. So I highlighted anything that's above 10% out of the money. So as you can see, winners here, Netflix, Micron, Netflix, all of these are winners doing outstanding. And then Broadcom is 8.2%, one of their calls, of course, 8.2% out of the money. Okay, that's not bad either. Look at this, Tesla, 27% out of the money, but you know why, because they've been tanking. Apple, for whatever reason, I thought this was interesting. Look at this call. This is a whacked call, man. I mean, it's, fine, okay. It has an oddball expiration date of 5/5. Look at the format, though. That is funky. But whatever. Okay, even so, it's 11% out of the money, but it's yellow because I had to manually update it. NVIDIA has one at 9% out of the money, but that's okay. AMD, 8% out of the money. Netflix, 5% out of the money. That's a little tight, but still, not all that bad. Microsoft, 5% out of the money. Again, we have some single digits here, which is okay. But again, if they go in the money, that's when they settle those, they cash settle those, that's where the loss comes in. So they would, calculate that as the loss. So I'm curious to see at the end of the year how much income versus how much losses and how much they are truly able to pay out of return of capital. I don't even know if I trust those notices, to be honest, because again, they are an estimate. Are they really paying 100% return of capital? It's hard to believe. All right, anyway, moving on. So here's a low one. NVIDIA is 3% out of the money, but NVIDIA has been going up lately. Here's the Palo Alto. I think people always tell me I say that wrong, but whatever. It's 2.47% out of the money. That's pretty tight. But there's only one that's in the money, and it's the one I can't pronounce right, Palo Alto. So it's 0.95% in the money. And how big is that position? Can we see? $325,000 worth. 0.18% weight. Nothing huge there, so it's not a worry. But check this out. The average out of the money is double digits, 10.87%. So I have nothing but good things to say about RecShares FEPI this month. Potential capital gains leading into the covered call strike price of expiration of 517 is looking pretty damn good. So if Tesla has great earnings and goes up, boom, we'll capture it, right? Look at that, 20%. We can capture 20%. Outstanding. Micron, 20% out of the money. So there's so much upside potential in these. And they're still paying us 25%. So, overall, of course you could do this yourself. I know everyone says, oh, why buy these funds if you could do it yourself? Okay, you want to do this yourself? Go ahead, have fun. I'll pay the 0.65% expense. I'll gladly pay that. I ain't doing all this. Who has the time, right? I mean, granted, you could do a little options yourself, but when it comes to all these different funds and you can perform all of these different, strategies, no. Maybe if you're retired, you can, but still, these people are professionals, and they more than likely have access to data that you're not privy to. So, again, this is just the update on FEPI, RecShares FEPI, and usually have nothing but good things to say. Their total net assets per this spreadsheet the holdings on the spreadsheet, 182.2 million. Outstanding shares, 3.5 million. By the way, let's check last month. I actually did it exactly 1 month ago. On March 23rd, let's see what their holdings were. Their holdings were 2,475,000. And now, did I say holdings? Oh my God. I mean, their outstanding shares were 2,475,000. Their outstanding shares now are 3.5 million. So obviously more and more people are buying into this fund. So congrats to RecShares. RecShares are good people, man. They send out free merch to, a lot of the, communities that support them, and it's good for them. I think it's awesome. And the guy, from RecShares, he hangs out, in our Discord, and it's pretty cool. I just love it. They're down to earth. And they actually did invite me to, when they did the closing bell, and I regretfully could not make it. I wish, if they're ever there again, I hope they invite me again. That was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I know Kamar from We the Kamars went, and it looked like a fun time. So, again, hopefully next time I can make it. But that was that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity usually. But the NAV that I'm calculating is 5207, which is, I think, close enough to the website. But yeah, anyway, so that's the update. Again, FEPI. Their distribution was announced. They're paying $1.09. Again, every distribution has been over $1. Every distribution has yielded around 25%. So no complaints here. I do like to complain a lot, but I can't complain really about FEPI. FEPI is a really good fund. To me, I look at FEPI and I look at YMAX, and to me, like, these are the funds that will help you sleep at night, in my opinion. Which reminds me, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are always for fun and entertainment. As I discuss my journey, I also talk about many different funds. If you ever have a fund you want me to cover, please let me know, either via the Discord under the YouTube suggestions channel, or you can always just comment to any video, and then I'll see it. Obviously, I read all the comments. I try to click like on all the comments. I respond to some that require responding to. But obviously the negative ones, you're not getting a thumbs up. Sorry. But either way, that's the update on FEPI. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. What do you think of FEPI? Is this the best covered call ETF out there, bar none? Is this number one in your eyes? And if so, what do you think RecShares has up their sleeve coming down the pike? I mean, they could be making some really good ETFs that mimic this, but with other funds. I think they've done a really good job for having only one covered call ETF. It's pretty dominant. So the future is bright for them. But let me know what you think. You obviously know what I think. I'm a big, I bought a bunch of, I bought actually 10 shares of FEPI today because it was ex-dividend date. It was still kind of red early on. I don't know if they're green now, but they looked kind of flat right before I started. But either way, that is the update. I'll stop rambling. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. I believe it helps the algorithms per YouTube. And if it helps the algorithms, then this video will be shared with more people. And then we can have a big party of people, right? Or we can have more haters yelling that this fund stinks and whatever. But this fund doesn't get hate. YieldMax gets most of the hate anyway. I've never heard anyone knock FEPI, to my knowledge at least. But if they have, what are they saying? I would love to know. Anyway, like I said, I'm done rambling. If you made it this far, what's the there's a keyword. So yeah, for those of you new to my channel, you have to prove that you made it this far in the video, and you have to type a comment that I say at the end. And the comment at the end of this video is, the roads are getting paved. I know that's a lot to type in, but if you made it to the end, that's how you prove it. The roads are getting paved. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Later.